Cheers from Ed over at Antique Toys. We have a J.E. Stevens pattern find, and these are pre-toy patterns from the factory find we had the other day, like an axe head, like a hinge, so stay tuned for more. All right, so we have probably the oldest piece from the Stevens factory find, or that's the theory. I understand that they did full-size cast iron pieces like this axe head. This is made out of wood, and if you look at the tight grains, the aging and so forth, it's probably 150 years old, circa 1880s or so. It was part of a barrel which had cards in it, and they were typed up for posterity's sake, probably put in an executive's room or an executive's office or the hallway. And it says axe pattern, but this one is AX, and they scribbled it out and then they retyped it AXE. I'm guessing that they documented it like in the 30s or so, but the patterns was old for that time. Hinge pattern. This reminds me of like a refrigerator, or possibly you put it on the side and then the door opens up, or in that timeline it'd be an ice box, strong box and such. We potentially have another one which could be considered a hinge pattern. This reminds me of like a door hinge. So real interesting piece. So the lathe faceplate, which means that on a lathe this piece would rotate, you'd have another piece that would grip and rotate, and then you'd come across with a cutting surface and you'd make like legs of a banister or legs of a chair. These slots were for fasteners, and so let's just pretend you were making a round piece. You could bolt it in place and have it spin, and then start shaping and cutting this. So lathe faceplate, really cool. We got this guy and this guy, and I feel that one of them, this is definitely an impeller. We have a impeller pattern which would move water. It's curved, and so if it were spinning in circles in a certain centrifugal pump, it could shoot water out. This also could be a pattern for that, possibly a fan blade, but I think we can use our imagination. Go ahead and type below. Tell me what you think. Which one's an impeller, which one's not? I would say there's damage on this guy. That should have been symmetrical. Universal joint part. To me, this is definitely the universal joint part, because you have both spinning, rotating, and a second degree of freedom. This potentially went with it. Potentially it's like an Edison piece. One never knows. But I'm chalking them both up to universal joint parts. Tell me what you think. Finally, what I think is really cool, a pulley. And, you say big deal, pulley, who cares? Well, it looks like they put a lot of thought into it. Probably this would be the fastener. They cut it out for weight savings, and then these were probably left to tap it so that you could do more fasteners. And then the curved surface right here. So pulley, J.E. Stevens. One more. Potentially pulley, remotely impeller. I think it's more of a slicer. I think it's probably meant to cut, and it could have been part of the lathe. So again, tell me what you think it is. Impeller, cutter, part of a lathe. All right, here is the axe pattern. Old grain. Has a nice chunk of wood in there to simulate where the axe shaft would go. And now we have some hinge patterns. Hinge pattern card, 3 fastener, dog bone style for saving weight. And then you can call this an impeller. We kind of feel it could be a pattern for a hinge, but I'd like to hear your point of view. All right, here's the pulley. Very smooth. Pulley. Here's the lathe faceplate. Look at all those concentric grooves. That was a lot of work. Ironically, they cut it on a lathe, I'm sure. Seams together. Here's the mystery piece, which could go to a lathe. Here is the impeller. I would say this is likely an impeller with the curvature and the reinforcement. As I say that though, it's a fascinating pattern, looks like a fan blade, which some people can call an impeller also. All right, here is the universal joint part. This is similar to the back pumpkin housing where the universal joint connects on a rear transmission of a car. Fastener would go there, fastener would go there, and it could both twist and go in this shape. You think that's part of it? Do you think that's part of an Edison? Let me know in the comments below.